Good afternoon, and welcome to Protecting Veterans from Fraud. We're so glad you joined us today. I'm Donna Harris, and I'll be your moderator for today. Our speakers today have a wealth of knowledge on the topic of fraud with a focus on veterans and keeping you safe from scammers. Let me start by going over just a couple of things I want you to keep in mind during the webinar. The first thing is this webinar is being recorded. So the information today will be available to you at a later date. Also, for the purposes of this webinar, your screens, your video, and your audio is turned off. So if you have a question, please use the Q&A to put your question in the Q&A, and we'll try to answer all your questions. But if not, have no fear. We will actually take all the questions and get answers to them and send it out to all those participating as we move along. And one thing I like to make clear, since we're talking about fraud, please don't put your personal identifiable information into the Q&A. If you have specific questions that pertain to you and you only and that are personal in nature, we'll be sending out a resource guide on the days following the webinar, and you'll be able to, at that time, have the information on who to call and where to go if you need assistance with anything that's personal. Okay, now with that said, let's get this show on the road. Today, we have two great speakers with us, like I've said. The first is Ms. Jeanine Gilson. She's the Deputy Chief Financial Officer, Office of Financial Management from the Veterans Benefits Administration. I'm going to read her bio. Jeanine M. Gilson was appointed as the Deputy Chief Financial Officer for Accounting and Business Operations at the Veterans Benefits Administration on May 20th, 2023. As a key member of VBA's senior leadership team, Jeanine provides expert advice and counsel on all financial management matters involving accounting policy and reporting, financial systems, administrative accounting, benefit payment and accounting, and fraud, waste, and abuse operations to ensure the integrity of VBA's $164 billion budget and protect over $140 billion in disability compensation benefits. Prior to this appointment, Jeanine was detailed as the acting senior advisor for strategic initiatives and the acting deputy chief financial officer. In these roles, she provided advice and counsel in all matters aligned with implementing the Office of Financial Management's OFM strategic plan and in all financial matters related to VBA's $158 billion budget. On her watch, VBA's outstanding contributions to the Department of Veterans Affairs financial statement reports resulted in the VA receiving the Association of Government Accountants Certificate of Excellence in Accountability Reporting Award for the third and fourth consecutive times. She also served as the OFM Finance Services Staff Director, where she provided strategic direction and leadership to a team focused on delivering operational support, financial policy review and analysis, internal control, and proper payment avoidance and training. Thank you for joining us, Jeanine. Also joining us today from the Postal Inspection Service is Deputy Chief Postal Inspector Carroll Harris. Inspector Harris has over 33 years of government service with 18 years as a federal agent. He joined the United States Marine Corps in 1990, where he served over 10 years of active duty and 20 years in the reserves to include mobilizations and overseas combat deployment. Inspector Harris served as a federal agent with the Drug Enforcement Administration from 2004 to 2008. In 2008, he answered the call to become a postal inspector. Inspector Harris worked multiple assignments to include identity theft, mail theft, narcotics, and workplace violence. In 2021, he was named inspector in charge of the Los Angeles Division, where he manages an authorized complement of 162 inspectors, postal police officers, and professional technical and administrative staff. Inspector Harris holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and from Old Dominion University, a Master's of Business Administration degree from Butler University, and a Master's of Operations Science degree from the Marine Corps University Command and Staff College. Welcome, both of you, to Protecting Veterans from Fraud. Before we start, I'm going to actually get the PowerPoint up and running for you to view. So I hope everybody can see the PowerPoint. Jeanine Gilson, Ms. Gilson, would you start the webinar? Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Donna, and it is an honor and a privilege for me to be here today talking to you all about how VA keeps veterans safe from fraud and how we are sharing as much information as possible with the veteran community at large so that we can all help be mindful of what's out there in the fraud space and keep each other safe. So without any further ado, let's please advance to the next slide.
Okay. Just bear with me 1 second as I move through the slides.
Absolutely.
You probably see the presenter view, but I'm moved to this slide. So is this the slide you'd like to see?
Regrettably, I can't see a slide right now. There you
go. Yes.
Awesome. All right, I am not going to read all of the information on the slide to you, but I just want to call out a couple of things that are worthy of notice. The Federal Trade Commission announced in that 2023, veterans themselves reported over $292 million in losses to direct fraud, and that's about a $25 million increase since 2021. And this is fraud that, again, as I mentioned just a minute or so earlier, that has been reported by veterans. There's a whole lot of other stuff that hasn't been reported. And so that number right there, that $292 million in losses, is substantially higher than that. Couple other things, VA groups have been working with and partnering with other federal agencies and also with community partners to combat and prevent this kind of fraud. And we are doing that through what is called the V-Safe initiative, or the Veteran Scam and Fraud Evasion Initiative. What's important to know about this is it is cross-governmental. VA is the lead on this, but we are engaging with agencies as diverse as Social Security Administration, the Department of Treasury, the IRS, all over the place to make sure that these organizations understand the veteran community and understand the unique fraud that is being perpetrated against them in these spaces. So next slide, please. I've included an example just to show you what our federal partnerships look like. We partnered with the Internal Revenue Service this past April during tax season with an infographic as well as some information on how veterans can keep themselves safe during tax season and avoid some common tax scams. And when we share the copies of the slides with you after this presentation, you will be able to click on the link below and actually download a copy of this federal partnership information so that, in future tax seasons, should you be wanting to have this information, you can have it close at hand. Next slide, please. So the V-Safe program has a number of available resources, press releases, infographic releases, publications. They've really gone above and beyond to get the word out across the federal government about veterans' unique needs and what we are seeing in the fraud space. We've got some tip sheets. We've got fraud prevention toolkits. We've done a lot of translation into Spanish. So for native Spanish speakers, there is information in a language that they are intimately familiar with and that may come a lot more readily to them than perhaps doing the translation in their head into English, as well as some other tips and tricks specifically surrounding natural disasters and other disasters. We're in hurricane season right now, and invariably, fraudsters will prey on veterans who have been impacted not only by disaster, but have lost their belongings. And then these fraudsters come in and want to take more. And that frankly hurts my heart. So again, these links are all active and you'll be able to click on them once we share the presentation with you. Next slide, please. So within the Veterans Benefits Administration and within the Office of Financial Management, one of my staffs is called the Benefits Delivery Protection and Remediation Staff, which is a huge mouthful. I get it. We affectionately call them BDP&R. But what they do is they collaborate internal within the Veterans Benefits Administration with our lines of business. And so we've got a bunch of them. We've got a loan guarantee service, an education service, which works with education benefits, a compensation service, which works with disability compensation, pension and fiduciary. All of these lines of business have the potential to have fraudsters get engaged and circumvent or divert veterans benefits. And so what this organization does within the Office of Financial Management is we partner with our lines of business and assess their program operations, help them to identify vulnerabilities. We then use some of our tools. We're using artificial intelligence as well as some commercial off-the-shelf analytics products that help us analyze a tremendous amount of data in a relatively short period of time and help determine some common threats and use that information to help our business lines strengthen their risk assessment capabilities so that we are doing much more of a proactive job as opposed to a reactive job when fraud vulnerability is identified. The other thing we do is we provide solutions. So we don't just identify them and say, whoop, good luck to you, you're on your own. No, we actually partner with these business lines and help them identify where they can enhance their protective capabilities, where they might be able to do some outreach initiatives, et cetera, and help them get better, smarter, and tighten down some controls so that fraud keeps becoming a smaller and smaller part of the things we need to be mindful of. It's not to say it's gone, but we are actively and aggressively working to be as proactive as possible in these spaces. Next slide, please. So I did mention some of the, at a very high level, some of the artificial intelligence and other tools that we're using. We do have a machine learning capability for our payment redirect fraud model. So basically, where we see a lot of fraud is when fraudsters will come in and try to change a veteran's direct deposit, their bank account. They'll call into our call center, they'll log into va.gov and try to do that. And so we've instituted this kind of a thinking model, if you will. It is a model that is capable of learning through algorithms, where when we can run some examples of when we've seen fraud through the model, it gets smarter, and it actually does then expand its aperture of analysis so that it can pick out other things based on the information we feed it. So here are a couple of statistics that we cited here in 23, fiscal year 23. We identified 145 incidences of fraud and protected roughly $300,000 in benefits, with $71,000 in retroactive benefits. And then we tuned our model. We gave it some more examples. We send it back to school, if you will. And you can see where we had a significant improvement now we're able to, using this tool, we identified 775 incidences of fraud and protected more than $1 million. So again, we keep getting smarter, the tool keeps getting smarter, and we keep getting better at identifying those kinds of situations. We also do some live monitoring. So we've got a tool called Datadog, and it's a third-party tool that allows us to monitor web traffic. And we can, based on when someone logs into va.gov, which is our main front end into our benefits portal for veterans, we can tell from the IP address where that veteran, where that family member, where that potential fraudster might be logging in from. We can also tell, and we've got a number of, you might find this difficult to believe, but people in foreign countries who are trying to log in and steal veterans benefits. So we've got awareness of some IP addresses from Jamaica, from North Korea, from Russia. where we've identified them as being dangerous. And so anytime we've got that IP address show up, we're like, oop, fraud. And so you can see some of the stats there regarding how we've been able to use this particular tool to help us. Now, I'll tell you, within my staff, we are primarily focused on the benefits side of veterans, I'll just say portfolio, if you will, and strictly the monetary benefits that get distributed to veterans. That's where our primary focus is. However, we've built some amazing partnerships with our Office of Inspector General. And sometimes when they need assistance, or for example, we had a call from the U.S. Marshal Service where they were looking for a fugitive veteran who had, they believed had committed a crime. And so the Marshal Service reached out to VA's Office of Inspector General. The Office of Inspector General reached out to us and said, hey, could you do us a solid? We really have this situation. We need your help. We know you have this tool. And we were able to collaborate with the OIG and the Marshal Service to triangulate and track down that fugitive veteran who had committed a crime. And we were able to assist in apprehending that fugitive. And so while it wasn't in our specific financial benefits fraud area, we had tools, we're willing to share them, and we had a cross collaboration across government to bring a fugitive criminal to justice. So it's kind of cool when we are able to step a little bit outside our scope, but definitely a way for us to continue to deliver excellent service across government. Next slide.
Jeanine, I love that as a federal law enforcement partner. I love it. Great.
Yeah, no. Hit us up if there's anything you need. We are happy to help. It's one team, one fight, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, next slide, please. So generally speaking, here are some of our statistics. You can see the growth from fiscal year 2022 to 23, and our fiscal 24 data was as of the beginning of June. So we're not yet done with fiscal 24, so we fully expect to see at least as many incident investigations, if not more. And you can also see our confirmed fraud amounts going up. The same holds true for our direct deposit fraud. And really what is driving this for us is because we, through the grace of Congress, had the amazing, and I mean this sincerely, the amazing Sergeant Heath Robinson honoring our PACT Act legislation passed. We do affectionately call it just the PACT Act because the legislative name is really long. But this significantly expanded the number of veterans who were eligible to receive benefits through VA. And with a bigger, deeper pool of veterans receiving benefits, you can imagine that the fraudsters who were out there were like, we're going to come and get these people, take their benefits away. And so we're seeing these incidences increase. And again, as we get smarter, we are buckling down a lot more and are able to really do significant work in making sure that that fraud, we either catch it before it happens, and we also have a remediation capability so that if a veteran is a victim of fraud, we have the ability to turn around and reissue payment to that veteran within a day. So we are actively and aggressively investigating, and we also want to make our veterans whole as a result. So just some statistics there. Next slide, please. So this next slide is really busy. It's got a lot of information. Again, I just want to give you all a sense of how we are engaging across the veteran community. What kinds of artifacts, public awareness kind of publications, interviews that our undersecretary has done, the different campaigns that we've run. We've run a claim predator campaign for those veterans who are in receipt of pension benefits. Those are some of our most vulnerable veterans. And so we want to make sure that they are aware, their caregivers are aware, their family members are aware of how predators are trying to steal their benefits. Romance and friendship scams. If something sounds too good to be true on the internet, please, it is too good to be true. just some general awareness there of what we are doing, how we're translating things into Spanish, some of our fraud communications. Again, this is a tremendous wealth of information, and it is all available to you once we share the presentation. To the degree that you are in the veteran community, you have a veteran in your family, you have a veteran in your life, you have one in your neighborhood, please share this information as deeply and broadly as possible. We want to make sure that people are aware of how other people and organizations are trying to take what is not theirs, and to sabotage and prey upon our veterans who've earned these benefits, these financial benefits, through their service to this great country. Next slide, please. Again, whole lot of information here, but these are some of the email messages, the social media posts, the newsletters. You know, we track all of this stuff because we want to make sure, you know, are we hitting the mark when we send this information out into the universe? You know, is it reaching the population that it needs to? We have deep, in-depth partnerships with our veteran service organizations. We are sharing all of this information with them as well so that they can also be our frontline out into the veteran community to share information. Next slide, please. So we do have some information to share with you about some of the top fraud schemes that we are seeing. So some of the things, just for your awareness, there are people and organizations who are going to reach out to veterans and pretend that they are either part of VA or they are part of another federal government organization. And they're going to reach out, usually by phone, but sometimes by email or on social media, and say, hey, you know, I'm working for the Department of Veterans Affairs, and, you know, can you share your claim number with me? Let me see if I can help you. Please don't do that. Please don't share any personally identifiable information with anybody who reaches out to you directly. VA is not going to call you and reach out to you. That is not how we do business. And so if you're getting calls, if you're getting direct, you know, reach outs through social media, please understand that is not VA, and please do not engage. Another scheme we're seeing is pension poaching. As I mentioned, our pensioners are very low income, and they are some of our most vulnerable veterans. We have unscrupulous people who are out there who are claiming to help veterans and advising veterans to hide their assets, move any money that they might have around so that they potentially can qualify for more pension benefits. However, these pension poachers are doing this for a fee, an upfront fee, and they are taking a bunch of money, a huge percentage off the top of those additional benefits that that veteran may earn. Number one, which is illegal. We do not charge, veterans should not have to pay to file any benefits claims. And number two, what they also do, because of this dubious advice that they are giving to hide assets, when VA finds out, because we audit, we then can come back to that veteran and say, hey, you illegally did not share with us this source of income. We're going to reduce or cancel your pension benefits. And so not only has that veteran paid upfront to an unscrupulous person to help them, they didn't actually help them. They took their money, and conceivably now they're out that benefit as well. The last one is claims predators. This has been we've seen a significant uptick in this. It aligns a little bit with the pension poaching in that there are individuals and companies out there who, for a fee, will help veterans file a claim for benefits. Now, I'll tell you, you can file a claim for benefits at VA free of charge. You can work with a veteran service organization free of charge to file your claims for benefits. And I would direct you immediately to those two sources because they're free and because these organizations, VA staff, as well as our veteran service organizations, know what needs to be submitted in order for your claim to be accepted. It is not illegal yet. for companies to offer this, hey, we'll help you for a fee or for a percentage of your benefits. And so again, I can't tell you not to use them. I would just have you be strongly encouraged that there are other opportunities for you to file claims where you don't have to pay a percentage of the benefit that you have rightfully earned. Next slide, please. You can see here some of the partnerships that we have with our law enforcement organizations, to include VA's Office of Inspector General, the Department of Justice. We work with the FBI. We work with the Department of Defense's IG, and others, the Marshal Service, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. We also work with other like-minded, like-organized benefits agencies, to include the Department of Treasury, the IRS, the Social Security Administration, the Federal Trade Commission, other organizations in the benefit space and in the consumer protection space. So these deep collaboration efforts have really helped us collectively get smarter in this space, and to do a lot of cross-pollination so that we can share information, share data, share common fraud schemes, etc. Next slide, please. So at the end of the day, how to avoid a scam? These are common sense types of things you should be asking yourself if you get contacted by someone who is offering to help you. As I mentioned, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Individuals or companies who are looking to help you may put some pressure on you to act immediately. Come on, you got to do this now. You got to sign up now. You got to sign this contract with me now. Resist the impulse to act immediately. Take a deep breath, take a few days, read the literature that you might have been sent. You can, with anybody who is legitimately trying to do business with you, take the time to decide, take the time to read, take the time to do your own investigation. Don't fall prey to, oh, I got to act now because this deal is going to end. If the deal is going to end, it's not actually a deal. Take that time to stop and talk to someone you trust. Talk to a family member. Hey, does this sound legitimate to you? Tell a neighbor what happened. If you can talk through it and your neighbor or your friend or your family member isn't saying, wow, that's kind of weird, that's another good way to recognize that, hey, this might not be a legitimate way for me to engage and for me to do business with this entity. Next slide, please. If you're getting unwanted texts, if you're getting unwanted calls, you can go ahead and block them. You can, again, as I mentioned, VA is not going to call you. We are not going to be engaging with you directly over the phone. We would like you to call us. We will send emails, we will send letters, but we will not call you. You can protect your information if there was a request that you didn't expect, even if the caller has some of your personally identifying information. So again, legitimate organizations are not going to ask you through email or text about your personal information. So they're not going to text you and say, hey, send me your social. That's a big signal right there. And a legitimate organization is not going to ask you to pay them in cryptocurrency. They're not going to ask you to use Zelle or Venmo or wire transfer. Or what we've also seen is, hey, if we send you this check and you can deposit it and just pay us back, yeah, don't do that either. That is definitely a hallmark of a scam right there. And we want you to be aware of these kinds of activities so that if someone or some organization reaches out, you can be like, that doesn't sound legitimate to me. And again, there's some resources at the bottom here for you to use or to look for if you have any questions or want some more general fraud protection information. Next slide. So wrapping this up, how can you help? Well, I have given you a ton of information through this slide presentation and the associated links to share with the veteran community within your friend group. If you are friends with groups of veterans, your service buddies, anybody that you can share this information with, absolutely. You can help veterans file their claims, pointing them to the VA's website. Oops, I think we went back a slide. And you can also, direct veterans to their nearest VA regional office. If you click on the link, there's a whole map of them. And let them know that veterans service organizations such as Student Veterans of America, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Disabled American Veterans, the Paralyzed Veterans of America, there are hundreds of veteran service organizations who, for free, will help veterans file claims. We have a link here for VA accredited organizations. We do have some outside entities, to include lawyers and law firms, who have passed VA's accreditation gauntlet, if you will. We've evaluated them. They are legitimate assistance providers. And you can identify those by clicking on this link right here to make sure that the attorney who has reached out to you or that you are working with or want to work with is actually accredited by VA. And again, any resources that you have here, feel free to share. Next slide. Here's some more resources. Again, I feel like I have come with a wealth of information. I want to share this as deeply and broadly as possible. Couple things to note: if you find that you are watching TV at home and a law firm comes on talking about how they're going to help you get benefits you might be entitled to if you served at Camp Lejeune and were exposed to contaminated water. And they have a bunch of small print at the bottom, and you're like, you know what, that doesn't sound right. You can reach out to the Federal Trade Commission and report that that public service announcement, that commercial, etc. At that link right there, report fraud. And by all means, if you are a veteran yourself and you are receiving benefits from VA and you don't get them, like they don't arrive in your bank account, it doesn't arrive via check, please reach out to us and let us know. We are here to help. We will reissue your payment. We will trace it. We will find out what happened to it. And then we will also, if it has been fraudulently taken, we will hunt that fraudster down and try and bring them to justice. Next slide, please. Again, more information. Woohoo! So we've got some more tools, some more links. We want to make sure that nobody falls prey to any fraudsters, scammers, etc. out there. It is horrible. It's a horrible feeling when you are a victim of this kind of a crime. People feel ashamed because they feel like, oh, I should have known better. We don't want to have anybody be in that situation. And should it happen to you, please know VA is here to help. This is nothing to be ashamed of. These fraudsters are smart and they're savvy, and they're going to try and play on your emotions. We want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on and that VA is here to help. So that is the end of my presentation. I'm going to turn the mic gracefully over to my amazing colleague, Carroll Harris, who is going to talk to you about the United States Postal Inspection Service's protection of veterans against fraud stuff. So Carroll, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Jeanine. And thank you and your team for all the effort you've done. The themes you're hitting are themes we share. I'm going to re-emphasize some of those themes. I'm going to put it through the lens of a federal agent postal inspector, the Postal Service. I think one of the challenges of the people that we seek to help and serve through our role as part of our organizations, one of the challenges they face is the information overload. And we sort of contribute to that, but we're hitting them with the right information at the right time so they can be the right person to help someone else and or themselves. So, and if they're on this call, they're definitely the right person to help another person. So I applaud all the people that have taken time to dial in and absorb Jeanine's message and my message. With that said, hey, I'm Carroll Harris. I'm a federal agent postal inspector. I do want to emphasize what my calling. I feel drawn to do this. I am one of you. I'm a 30-year veteran of the Marines, and I received services through the VA. The VA has taken care of me over the years. I have had multiple procedures, so the different buckets Jeanine's hitting on, I'm familiar with: Veterans Benefits Administration, Veteran Hospital Administration, GI Bill, which I have been able to pass down to my children. I am benefiting many, many ways to the tunes of thousands and thousands of dollars of benefits that I've earned through my service, just like our listeners out there today. And that does make me a target. It does make you a target. So being aware, being involved, being engaged. She talked about how smart the scammers are. They are super smart. And as the Veterans Benefits Administration and the hospital administration and all of the different functions of the VA, which is a huge organization, evolves, so do the scammers. Sometimes you may say it's old wine in a new bottle, to give you a phrase around it. The VA evolves, society evolves, the scammers evolve. And it's a dance, and the music won't stop. We'll just keep on dancing, and we'll deliver a consequence to those criminals, like Jeanine said. We're going to get after it and go get them. And we need your help to do it, because a lot of these scams and schemes, the frauds require your participation to make it happen. So by you being aware and being on this call and being someone who's taken the time out of your life to be here today, you deserve a pat on the back for being that aware citizen warrior and veteran and standing with us, not only to protect yourself, but protect those to your left and your right. I applaud you. I'm grateful to be with you. So a little information about the Postal Service. This is a billion-dollar business. It's international in scope. So we get a piece of just about everything you can imagine, to include our relationship with the veteran community. Postal Service, one of the largest employers of veterans out there, including myself. I feel lucky to be working with the Postal Service. When I first left the Marine Corps, I had visions of being a federal agent, and I had a wonderful time as a federal agent working narcotics for years before I picked up cases with postal inspectors, and I learned about all the other ways they serve, and I was drawn to come over. And I the energy within the inspection service community to take care of people, serve people, protect people, prevent crimes and solve crimes. I feel that flowing through Jeanine's presentation as well. It's fun to be with her. So $116 billion or billion pieces of mail are flowing pretty much every year. Now imagine there's 166 million delivery points at the last stat I had. Those delivery addresses continue to grow. And we have over 600,000 employees in over 30,000 facilities. So this network is basically the pulse of American communications and commerce. And a lot of those letters that I know you get them, I get them too, from the VA, as well as all the fraud solicitations I get as well, are flowing through our network. So that's how the postal inspectors are aware and involved in partnering with our federal law enforcement partners and our federal agency partners to prevent the crimes and to protect individuals. Just for general awareness, most people have never heard of postal inspectors, so I want to share some things we do. We work on a lot of different things to support the American public. And last year we arrested over 4,700 people. And so I like to think we're having an outsized impact for the size of our organization. We're out there, we're leveraging everything we have using a whole of government approach, such as my time here today with you, to share our piece of the sliver in your protective envelope. We work violent crimes, homicides, robberies, burglaries, bombs, narcotics, mail theft. And my point being here with you today, frauds. We want to protect you from fraud. Next slide, please. There are over 200 different federal statutes that are related to the mails. So we work with our state and local partners as well as our federal partners to work those federal statutes, to leverage them, and they evolve. Jeanine alluded to the fact that there are some things that aren't illegal that maybe one day they will be illegal. And at that point, we'll be able to leverage that. So we move with the evolution of society and the evolution of the law and the interpretation of the law. That is not a static thing. It lives and breathes. And it has been that way since we were established. This organization actually predates the nation. We were established August 7th of 1775. So the need for protection of your communications and your commerce has been there for over 249 years. We're coming up on our 250th anniversary next year. So there's a long story, tradition, and legacy that lives within this organization, as does the establishment of the VA. Back when Abraham Lincoln established it, and he said to care for those who borne the battle. The VA's got a proud legacy too. So I'm happy to partner with them. Next slide, please. There's around 1,300 postal inspectors, just to give you some context of how many there are. Thank you, Donna. All right, so when it comes to our enforcement actions and the arrests we're making, we've realized we can't arrest our way out of the problem. That's why I'm here with you today. We'd much rather prevent a crime than have to solve a crime, and that requires your assistance and your awareness, and that's why I applaud you for being on this call. Some of us out there in society may not realize we're being targeted, but believe you me, as sure as I'm standing here breathing, you're being targeted. People you love and care about are being targeted. Your neighbors are being targeted. For those of us that are so fortunate enough to have parents, they're being targeted. And even the young veterans are being targeted. Everyone with benefits and assets is being targeted. So with that, we have to be aware, and we've got to be prepared to care for ourselves and to care for those who've borne the battle. Some of us have come home. Some of us have been through some challenges for the veteran community. There's physical challenges. There's mental challenges. There's nothing easy about a combat experience, and much less easy about even if you stayed stateside. The veteran community is filled with people who signed a blank check and they took on difficult challenges. And that's why the VA is here, to help care for those that have earned these services, because it's a brave and bold thing to be a veteran, to take the oath, and to serve your country. You deserve the services that you have earned through your service, and you deserve to get them free from the tyranny of criminal enterprise. And that's why we're here today. Next slide, please. So with that, I want to tell you a little bit about Operation Protect Veterans. This is a program we established a few years back along with AARP. And the whole point of it, the genesis of it, was we realized a lot of what Jeanine shared, that the veteran community is being targeted. Now, we have worked as postal inspectors and federal agents, we've worked fraud, scams, and schemes and swindles as long as they've been around. It's just been part of what we've done to protect the public. But it was a few years back, we realized, hey, they are specifically targeting the veteran community. And folks like myself here in the Postal Service that are veterans, well, that gets in our crawl a little bit. We want to do something about it. So that was the drive to bring forward Operation Protect Veterans. And even back then, at the initial stages of our campaign, the VA was a good partner through the social media channels they have, through their podcast. They've been good partners with us in helping echoing this, as well as our own channels, as Jeanine explained. With that, I want to give you a couple of facts, some stats we've picked up. When it comes to the different ages, oftentimes people think that they won't fall for something, or that it's only going to be it's someone else that could happen to. It's happening to all walks of life. If they catch you at the right place, at the right time, in the right moment, and they're bombarding us with electronic versions, phone calls, and mail, they can get you in a weak moment, and they can separate you from your hard-earned benefits, or they can manipulate you into doing something and you don't quite get it. We all have our down moments. Jeanine talked about referencing friends and not falling for time pressure. I want to reemphasize that point. So with that, it does appear that the older Americans over 70 are having the greatest loss on average, between $800 and $1,500 a pop, when they're getting approached with the different scams and schemes. But some of them, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've seen entire life savings disappear and look those people in the eye. And when the assets end up overseas, a lot of times we can't recover them, nor can we impact arrest, depending on the country or where it is overseas. There are different agreements around the globe for where we're able to affect enforcement actions. And the criminals know this, and they typically will operate from places where they know we cannot get to them. So that's a common thing in the fraud community. The numbers show fraud, imposter scams, they're most prevalent. Identity theft is reported as number 2 from what we're seeing on our end. And the FTC it does a great job, the Federal Trade Commission, of tracking things. They also are monitoring the shopping scams, the investment scams, credit card scams are happening quite a bit. And they're disproportionately hitting service members from what we're seeing, the ones I just mentioned. In 2023, military consumers reported over 190,000 complaints to the FTC, for the numbers we have. Fraud was the number 1 category, and it has more scams than what I've told you there, but the ones I mentioned are the prevalent ones to watch out for. But everything under the sun, you can put a veteran veneer on it and slide it into a veteran. 477 million in losses. That's a 15.2% increase. Next slide, please, is one of the other figures that we have come up with here. Thank you, Don. All right, here's a breakdown of where we see complaints coming from. We probably have active duty. We probably have the veterans, retirees, people who serve 3 years, people who serve 30 years like myself, spouses and dependents could be listening to us. All of them rate benefits from the Veterans Administration. So active duties for the complaint trends we're seeing, 42% of them were going to active duty. Around 31% were hitting retirees and or veterans like myself. And there's also a smattering for the spouses and dependents in there. So they're breaking it down. So why do I share that? I want you to know it's all of us. We're all being targeted. It doesn't matter if it's not just the veteran, it's the actively serving person as well who will become a veteran. They know that person is on a trajectory to earn benefits through their arduous service, and they therefore target them. All right, so other top schemes we're seeing. Sweepstakes and lotteries. If you don't enter the foreign lottery, you can't win it. Don't trust that. People do fall for that. They catch you at the right place in the right time. Fake check scams. Jeanine told the story a little bit of that. Sometimes they'll buy something from you, they'll overpay you, and they'll tell you, oh, just keep the difference, but send me back a refund. It's a scam where they're manipulating the banking system. All those things are happening in the vet community as well. Telephone, mobile services, advanced payment for credit services, mortgage, foreclosure, and relief, debt management. Big trends we're seeing. Next slide, please. So one of the things I want to tell you here is fraud's something you actively participate in to become a victim. Don't give them the keys. You have to help them to become a victim. And because they hit us in mass, they sometimes catch us in a weak moment. So you have to be up armored against it. If you're on this call, you're up armored. And now you have a call to action to protect someone to your left or to your right and to not fall for it. Don't give them the keys. Next slide, please. There we go. So the calls are getting better. I recall a few years ago, working with the Senate, the volume of the bad calls has been reduced, but it still happens. They still get through, and they can make, and I want you, we didn't touch on this yet. I want to talk about artificial intelligence a little bit. With the evolution of our digital environments, they can appear as who they want to appear as. They could easily literally appear as Jeanine or Carroll with moving video, sounding like us, moving like us. That's possible through artificial intelligence because we're public-facing figures. They could get that and then approach you with it. So that is something to be aware of in your social media environments where you share your information, because we've heard about grandparent schemes. They could have the voice of your grandchild now. They could have the phone number of your grandchild now. And now, as it's evolving, they could look like your grandchild if they're able to get images of your grandchild. So it's something for all of us as a society to be aware of. It's shifting sands evolving under our feet as we stand here now, the capabilities in the artificial intelligence world. And scammers will manipulate that. So we need to be aware. Jeanine talked about the time pressure. That's the big thing they're going to apply when they're trying to separate you from your hard-earned benefits. They're going to apply time pressure. They're going to create an exigent circumstance. Don't fall for it. I've got 3 words I like to repeat over and over in our veteran and our communities in general to help avoid becoming a victim of fraud. First one's pause. They're going to apply the time pressure. You pause. Second one is breathe. Take a breath. They're trying to force you to move when you don't have to move on something. Pause, breathe, and then connect. Connect with a trusted resource. Connect with a battle buddy. Connect with someone, as Jeanine referenced, a neighbor, someone you know has got your 6, to put it in veteran terms. Pause, breathe, connect. If you do that, you will not fall victim to some of these scams and schemes, because they're going to try to get you to make a decision on a quick cycle where you don't have the full fact pattern. The only reason the time pressure exists is because they don't want you to have the full fact pattern so they can manipulate you. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you share that with someone you love and care about that you know is being targeted, that they can pause, breathe, and connect with you. Because forewarned is forearmed, and you're now up armored in the fight against fraud. And your fight continues. It's not over. You may have taken that oath 20 or 30 years ago, but you're still in the fight because you're on this call, and you're going to care for someone that's to your left or your right, because that's who you are as a veteran. Next slide, please. I don't think, Donna, we've got time to do all the videos, but I'll just say what this is. This is a gentleman who donated thinking, well, someone called, pretended to be the VA, Jeanine talked about this, and they tricked him into sending money to what he thought was a veteran charity. And that just sticks in my craw, because that's a double hit on society. Not only was this gentleman deceived, and not only did a criminal take money, but the money he took was intended to help one of us, a veteran that deserved assistance and help. A lot of these veteran charities are perfectly good, and they exist to fill the gaps in where our government provides services for the veteran, and they're wonderful services. But when a scammer comes in and they pretend to be them, they can manipulate you. So watch the websites you go to, the links you click on. Jeanine talked about how people call you up and they'll pretend to be someone they're not. They do that as charities too. It's not just pretending to be the VA. So again, it's pause, breathe, connect. If someone's sending you stuff, you can go Google for the real website before you respond or read, and you can respond on your own timeline after you've checked with a good battle buddy. Next one, Donna. I'll mention romance scams. It's happening in the veteran community too. They will literally lift our pictures off of websites or social media and pretend to instantly fall in love with you. And then they establish rapport, they carry on a digital relationship, and the next thing you know, they're asking for money because they need to travel home to see you. There's lots of different ways they do it. Watch out for the romance scams. They're probably not going to just fall in love with you from seeing your picture on social media, but if you're lonely and you're isolated and you don't have a good battle buddy or a sense of community amongst you, or maybe you miss your veteran community, some of us fall for that. And I don't want that to happen to you or anyone that you care about. So I'll encourage you, everyone on this call, to reach out to someone you haven't touched base with in for a while. Connect with that person. Maybe it's a veteran that you served with years ago or someone else that you love and care about. Reach out to them and connect. You could be filling a void for that person. You can relive the good memories, and you could be protecting them from being scammed, and or if it just feels good to connect with our old veteran buddies. So I'll encourage you to reach out and do that. Next one, Donna.
Love is in the air.
Oh, there you go. That's Miss Avery. You'll see her on our social media channels. Absolutely fantastic spokesperson, delivers great messaging. I encourage you to check out uspis.gov, yet another resource where you can get good messaging. We do have Spanish content on there as well. And we have a website, uspis.gov/veterans, specifically tailored to you with the veteran voice, as well as all these other scams and schemes that you can learn about so that you can be a good protector of yourself and someone to your left and right. We've learned through our studies that people don't like to think of themselves as being targeted, even though we all are, to include me and Jeanine. But what they do like to think of, especially veterans, is that they can protect someone. So that's my calling to you. Yes, you're being targeted, but you know what? You can stand up for yourself and the person to your left and right. And that's something we learned through the Fraud Watch Network with AARP. That network is another great resource that you can tap into that will help you if you've been victimized to reset your finances, as well as they can help you through recovering and getting over having been victimized if you've been victimized in the past. All right, go forward a couple more, Donna, to the Operation Protect Veterans with our gentleman in the hat. And I want to share this. How do they do it? It's often through affinity. We haven't touched on this, but I need to give you these last bullets. One of the approaches is they pretend to be one of us. As I talk to you, I can feel the respect and the admiration, and I love being with you guys because you're veterans and you were bold enough to stand for people. You stand for the vulnerable in our world and in our own country. and I have deep respect for you. When I'm with another veteran, my guard comes down. The scammers know this. So they pretend to be a Marine, a soldier, a sailor, an airman, and that breaks down the barriers. And then they manipulate that through what we call the affinity. You have to watch out for that. Sometimes they're actually veterans who do this. Sometimes they're not. But either way, that's the approach. So you have to be careful and remember what Jeanine talked about. Don't fall for the time pressure. Pause, breathe, and connect. And then you should be protected. Last thing I'll give to you, I've told you USPIS.gov. Jeanine shared her websites. I'll share this with you. I'm reminded of starfish on the beach after a major storm. I heard this on a wooden pew when I was a kid with my grandmother. I was 7 years old. Basically, the starfish are washed up on the beach because the storm pushed them away from the water and they're going to die in the sun. Young boy's down there. He's throwing them back into the ocean one at a time. Old man sees it and he wonders, why is this young boy picking them up one at a time and throwing them into the ocean? He can't possibly have an impact. He can't possibly save them all. So he asks the young man, what are you doing? It's pointless. The young man picks up another one, throws the starfish into the ocean, saving it, looks at the old man with steely resolve and says, I made a difference for that one. Each one of us on this call, we can make a difference for at least one other veteran that we know and care about. So that's your calling. You're up armored, you're forewarned, you're forearmed, and the fight's still on. Let's stop fraud together. Thank you, Ms. Donna. Thank you, Ms. Jeanine. It's good to be with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we had some questions, and those questions were answered in, I think, one of our colleagues. They typed some answers to all of you for some of your questions. But before we leave, because we're almost at that hour, this last slide. Oh, let me start my video. Thank you. This last slide tells you how to get credit for those from the VA that are actually participating today on the call, and how to, for internal VA employees and for eligible VA and non-VA privacy professionals, you can see how to get credit, what you need to do. You'll get a copy of this presentation and this information will be in there as well. I'm going to stop the share of the screen, and I'm back on camera, as you can see, and I want to thank our guests today. They were fantastic for coming on and for talking about how to protect veterans from fraud. We don't, as I said, we don't have time for more questions, but what I will do is the questions that were answered and any questions that were put into the Q&A that were not answered, we'll make sure you get answers to those questions. We appreciate you for attending. We appreciate our fantastic speakers today, our presenters. And with that said, it's 1:59. I'll let you out of here 1 minute, less than 1 minute, I should say, sooner. So thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your participation today. Goodbye.